besties, happy belated Christmas. It's the 29th of December. I'm in my wicked pajamas I got for Christmas and the sticker won't come off, so I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to be doing my favourite book from each month. Some of them I have spoken about in previous videos, but we're going to see, hopefully I don't repeat what I've said before and give some new information on them. I have my iPad over here and I'm probably going to be looking over because I need to know the order of them, and I'm not even going to try pick up the stack of books here because I will drop them because they're so heavy. So let's get on with it. My first and favourite book of January was Heartless by Elsie Silver. This was an automatic 5 stars literally as soon as Cade was introduced. Willow was also such a badass female character. I feel like she was so good. Elsie Silver always does write a good female character. I think I spoke about this before. And the other 3 books I read in January were The Risk, Sidetracked, and The Newspaper Nanny, and this was obviously my favourite. And I just feel like this is such a good read, and if you want to get into cowboy romance, this is a really good one. If you don't want to read like the whole Chestnut Spring series, which I think is good anyways, you should, because I read Flawless last December, so it doesn't count, and I can't say it's my favorite book of this year because I literally read it on like the last day of last year's December. But this book is amazing, and Elsie Silver always writes such good characters, and the family is just so amazing. Like, they just continue through all the books. I just genuinely feel like this is such a good read, and everyone should read the Chestnut Spring series. So yeah, this is my favorite book of January. What a book, to be fair. I hope you guys all read the Chestnut Spring series after you watch my videos because it's just amazing. The next book is the My Deaf series, of course. This is my favorite book of February. I did count each individual book as its own book, as there's 5 books in one, and I'm counting them because I did read a different book. Like, look, these are the spaces between them. I think that they should count. So, you know, these are the books that I read in February. I read Scarlet Angel, which is the 3rd book, Take a Chance, Spin About You, I Think I Might Love You, A Risk Worth Taking, The Exception to the Rule, All the Lies, the 4th book, Heartstopper Volume 4, Heartstopper Volume 5, Paint It All Red, the 5th book, meaning I finished it, and One Way Ticket to Earth, which is a lot of books this month. But this book was my favourite, and I finished it in February, and I started it in January, which is absolutely insane how fast I read this book because it is quite chunky. But I flew through it, and I believe that everyone should read this book. The Mind F series is truly an amazing book. Lana Myers, Jake, Hadley, and Logan, all the best characters. Every character in here you love, except from the ones you don't, obviously. But I believe everyone should give this book a try and fall in love with Lana Myers like I did. I genuinely had a crush on Lana Myers more than I did the main male character because Lana is truly the best character ever, and I think everyone deserves to fall in love with her like I did. So definitely give this a read. My favourite book in March was Powerless. I also did enjoy another book that I read, so I couldn't really pick between them, but I will just say Powerless by Elsie Silver. And the other books I read was Binding 13, which I really did love, and Butcher and Blackbird. But I did enjoy Powerless, and this is by Elsie Silver, of course. Everyone didn't really like this book, but I genuinely did. This is about Jasper. He's a hockey player, and he's in love with his childhood best friend, and she's in love with him. And it's just so cute. Like, it follows them along. She's like a runaway. She's a runaway from her marriage. I don't know how to explain that. Like, she runs away from her marriage, and he's there to support her. It's just really cute. But one thing I don't like is the drag out of, like, you know, I think you're my friend, you think you're my friend, and we can't cross this line. Just cross the line, you know? You both like each other. You can literally feel it. You know each other for so long. Just cross the line, you know what I mean? That's my least favourite thing about friends to lovers, because it's not my favourite trope, but I do think that Elsie Silver does do this trope quite well. So I genuinely think everyone should give this one a read too. Just read the Chestnut Spring series, to be fair. I feel like I'm the Chestnut Spring series advocate because I feel like I have the rest of the series waiting to be talked about. So definitely give the Chestnut Spring series a read. Next up, I chose 2 books for April because I couldn't pick. I chose Wild Love by Elsie Silver and The Seven and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. And both of these books are different genres, so you can allow me, okay, because I couldn't choose. Let me tell you the rest of the books that I read this month. In April, I read Done and Dusted, which was amazing too. I'm pretty sure I gave 5 stars. If You Give a Single Dad a Nanny, which I gave 4 stars. Brutal Prince, which I gave 3 stars because it was a book out of my comfort zone, but I did really enjoy it. And then these 2 books. So I read 5 books that month. So Wild Love is by Elsie Silver. It's about Rosie, who is running away from her home, I guess. Or like I think she's coming back to her hometown, I believe, because I believe that it's a best friend's sister's romance, brother's best friend's romance, that one. And I think, yeah, it's something like that anyways. And it's so cute because Ford is so like such an introvert, and I find it so cute because Rosie's like the opposite, and I just love this book. I genuinely feel like it's good. I don't really remember that much that happens. I feel like Rosie was like a bit of a chaotic child, and her and Ford used to always fight when they were younger. And obviously, you know, that always happens, and then they grow up and they fall in love. Great. I loved it. It was really good. I think it was such a good book. I also got like halfway in tabbing because I read the rest on my Kindle, so that wasn't good. And I gave that 5 stars. And then The Seven Other Wings of Night, which I have talked about already. We know I love this book. It's amazing. My first ever fantasy book, and I still haven't finished The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which I will try to finish next year because obviously I'm not going to finish it by now. But this book was genuinely amazing. I don't feel like I can really talk much about the plot because I feel like it's spoilers, but it's kind of like the Hunger Games really, mixed with vampires. Basically, it's just amazing, and I genuinely feel like this is such a good book to get into fantasy because I genuinely thought I'd never read a fantasy book in my life, and I literally started this book and finished it in a few days. Like, it was just generally amazing. Book of May was Reckless by Elsie Silver. I feel like all of these are going to be Elsie Silver. I feel like the next another one is Elsie Silver's. I don't even know. The other books I read this month was What's Left of Me, Never Lie, The Housemaid, Swift and Saddled, Alive and Wells, and Seeing Red. They were all really, I think I read a lot of good books this month. A lot of them were like 4 or 5 stars, maybe 3. Never Lie was also my favourite, but I feel like this topped it because Theo Silva, the man he is, wow, and Winter. I genuinely fell in love with both characters. This is why Being Bi is just the best because I can love every single character. Because Winter was just, oh my goodness, she was an icon. She was independent. She was just the best woman you could ever think of. And Theo was everything and more. I feel like they are such a good mix because they're both so, I don't know how to explain. They like they're so different, but they're so similar that it's just amazing. And I feel like everyone needs to read it. Oh, I keep saying everyone needs to read this, but Elsie Silver is truly one of the best writers ever. I love her characters and I love her world. This world just intertwines so well, and all the characters just love each other so much, and it's the best fan family trip ever. Please read this book. Please, please, please. The best one out of the whole series. If you don't want to read the whole series, just please read Reckless. I beg you. Book of May was Out on a Limb. I have discussed this book. This is by Hannah Bonham Young. I have discussed this book already. This is another surprise pregnancy book. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but I feel like it isn't because that's the whole point of the book. The book very much goes in detail about pregnancy. So if that's not your thing, do not read this one. And the other books I read this month were Keeping 13, Tempting Olivia, and Alien All for Christmas. Please don't judge me on that one. I didn't even want to say it. I should have skipped it. I read 4 books this month. And Out on a Limb was my favourite because it's just so cute. Both the characters have a limb indifference, and no, one of them has a limb indifference and one has a prosthetic leg. And I just generally feel like it was such a good read. I feel like the diversity of this book was just amazing. It was so nice to see disability getting a good rep in a book. It's just amazing. And I feel like the author, it was so good. I generally don't know what to say about this book. They meet in such a funny way as well. I think I spoke about this. They were both dressed as pirates, like his being a pirate leg and hers being a pirate hook. And it's just so cute and so funny that they both thought of the same thing. And then they meet again and, you know the vibes. What a book. Generally so good. I feel like it's such a nice, cute read. And if you need a little pick-me-up, read this book. Favorite book of July was Live Ranch Love. I always accidentally say Live Love Ranch, my bad. It's Live Ranch Love by Emma Lucy. This book I gave 5 stars and was my favorite ever. And the only other book I read this month was The Perfect Son by Frida McFadden. I read that with my boyfriend. It wasn't my favorite book, but it was good. I love this book so much though because it's so funny because Rory is a well-being influencer and Wyatt is a grump, and Rory is so full of sunshine, and she forces Wyatt into like these social media posts as well. It's just so funny. They're so cute, and I feel like it's such a cute little read, and they're just the best opposites attract ever because they're really actually opposites. And I think it's about Rory, I think it's her aunt's farm, or no, she does a wellness retreat at this farm. I don't even know how she gets there, but I think it's like her aunt's farm and she's trying to like rule it, but Wyatt knows all the rules, I think. Yeah. And so Wyatt has to help her, but he doesn't really want to because he's like, I want to stay away from her because she's like everything I'm not. And she tries to like help build up the farm by using the wellness retreat as it's just so good. I feel like it's such a good read. I feel like all of the books I read this year were so amazing. I love it. And I genuinely feel that this is a good book if you love a cowboy romance like me, which I absolutely adore if you couldn't tell. I read one book in August, but it was a good one. I'll put it here because I don't have it. It's Capture My Love by Tay Monet. This book is about a guy called Grayson. He's a photographer, and a girl called Nova, and she is a boutique owner and she has a successful business, and they keep bumping into each other, literally bumping into each other. Grayson also has a child, but he is co-parenting with his ex, and they are good co-parents, so it's really nice to see that too. And he keeps trying to prove to Nova that she is so beautiful behind the lens, because she sees herself in his pictures, and he's constantly trying to get her to agree to taking pictures of her, and she finally does. So he takes some pictures of her, and she thinks that they're actually quite good, and he's trying to prove to her that she actually is so beautiful, not just on camera but off. And it's so lovely because you just see such black success. Like, she's got an iconic business. Like, she's just truly amazing, and it's so nice to read about. And I feel like it's such a cute short read, and I feel like everyone should read it because it's so good. And it's so nice to just, like, you know, get through a book. It's not even long, so it's like not a drag. It's nice, short, very instant love though. I'm pretty sure it's instant love, so if you don't like that, don't read it, but I love that. So it was right up my alley. I'm pretty sure I gave it like 3 stars. I'm not really sure. It is quite long. It's 326 pages. That's not that bad. So it is quite long. I don't remember it being that long. I sped for it, so maybe it didn't feel that long for me, but I think you should give it a read. In September, Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver, no surprise, was my favourite. I read 3 other books, which was Blind Date with a Book Boyfriend, Girls in Love, and Ricochet. This was obviously my favourite. This one I've already spoken about. It's about Weston Belmont, who's a single dad. He has 2 kids. One of them is nonverbal and the other is a young girl, and she's just absolutely hilarious. And Skylar, who is a singer, who realizes her family is literally awful, so she goes to this ranch to work with Ford, which is the character from the other book I said, who like is a record dealer. I don't know what it's called. He's that. And he helps Skylar to work on her own music so she can own her own songs, because her parents own everything she's ever like made. So it's nice that she can have her own thing, and I feel like it's so cute. This was definitely another one of my favorite like reads. This is definitely, I think, might be my favorite Elsie Silver book. This and Reckless, because I just love every character. Even the kids were so funny. The side characters were hilarious because it links with Wild Love. So there's like the other characters and they're just so funny, and they have like the little bowling club. I love it so much. I feel like this is so cute because what is this series called? This series is called the Rose Hill series, and the other one's the Chestnut Springs series. It's just so cute. And oh yeah, Ford in Wild Love is Willa's in Heartless sister. Oh my god, that makes no sense how I just said that, but they're related, they're intertwined, and I love that because I love Elsie Silver and I love all of her worlds. I haven't read her first series yet, but I will get to it. The only book I read, that pushed it away a bit. The only book I read in October was The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. However, this is my favourite Frida McFadden book because I genuinely love it. I can't say why I love it because it would spoil it, but there's just... The ending of this book is literally my favourite thing ever. I genuinely loved it so much. Like, I know a lot of people did not like this book, but this is my kind of book because it has like a romance plot in it, and I love that because I love romance. As you know, romance is my favourite thing ever, and I think everyone should give this book a little read because it's so good. It's a thriller, but it's just so good because it's eerie, but like in a good way, and I loved it so much. I've just made my nose really red, but oh well. Just please read this book. This is the best Frida McFadden book. If you want to get into Frida McFadden, read this right now, please. November, my favourite book was Big Nick Energy, which I don't have, so I'll put it here because I don't have it because I've read it on my Kindle. The other 2 books I read was The Silent Patient and The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which is apparently a tongue twister because I had to film this video 10 times because I can't say it. But Big Nick Energy was such a cute read. It was so hard to choose between The Pumpkin Spice Cafe and Big Nick Energy, by the way. But Big Nick Energy was so good. Have I spoke about it? I don't think I have. It's about this guy. He owns a farm, which, you know, that's my favorite thing ever. And his son goes on a date with this woman, who is way older. She is really older. And he realizes they're not compatible and they should just be friends. So he the guy she goes on a date with tries to set her up with his dad. So he invites her to Thanksgiving and they have food together. But she has been struggling with her ex because her ex is literally like the worst person on earth. He's so horrible to her. And luckily they're divorced now. But this is her first like Christmas like period by herself. And so she goes there for Thanksgiving. And the dad decides to mention the Elf on the Shelf to the kids. And the kids are like, well, we have never had Elf on the Shelf. Have we been naughty? And the mum gets really, really angry because she's like, well, you've just made me have to add more things to my plate. I'm a single mum. Now I have to do Elf on the Shelf and buy things to do the Elf on the Shelf. And they have like a little tiff and they get a bit upset. And he's like, okay, well, I'll come and do the Elf on the Shelf. So he comes every single night, an hour there, an hour back, to put the elf outside their door. But then she lets him in and then he starts doing it there. And that's where it goes on. And the romance flies. It's such a good book. I feel like that was a little bit of spoilers, so I'll put like a little spoiler warning. But read Big Nick Energy. I know Christmas is over, but still a good read. I gave this 5 stars. It was so cute. I genuinely thought I was going to hate it because it's only 294 pages. I thought it was going to be like a short, cringy romance. I loved it. It was so good. I love a short, cringy romance, to be fair. So I don't know why I said that because I love cringy romance. Definitely read it. Big Nick Energy. It's by Morgan Elizabeth. It's so good. Finally, my favourite book of December to top it all off was Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. I also read Merry Ever After and Christmas at Fox Ridge. I mainly read Christmas books. I did like Christmas at Fox Ridge, to be fair, but Love Light Farms was my favourite out of this. This truly proved me wrong because, as I said before, I don't really like friends to lovers romance, and this was a friends to lovers. And it was really good, to be fair. It did annoy me sometimes because I was just like, ugh, like friends to lovers is just so, does he like me, does he like me not? Just, it was a fake dating romance where they had to pretend they were together to like keep her farm going because she had like some influencer because the farm was struggling financially. So she enters a competition to like prove her farm is the best, and the woman comes and has to post it on her social media. So they pretend to be in love because she's like, I own this farm with my boyfriend, and it goes on from there. It's really good. I enjoyed it, and I do want to read the rest of the books in the series because one of the characters in here I really, really enjoyed, one of the side characters, and I really need his book. There's also, I think, a gay romance in here. I believe they were gay. They had male names, and I was confused. I'm pretty sure because it was like he, and I was just like, oh, cute. And I love this book so much. I genuinely really enjoyed it. Yeah, that's my wrap up. I'm going to try pick these books up. Yeah, it's not working. I'll just, yeah, that's them. Thank you for watching. And out of all of them, I'll do a quick little drum roll. My favourite was obviously the Mind Deaf series because this is a book that I know will stick with me for my whole entire life. Some of them were really like good as well, but I feel like that's the one book that will genuinely be entwined into my soul because, you know,